There's been an ongoing controversy surrounding the new owners of former Gawker properties and their current staff, notably with the website Deadspin. Deadspin is supposed to be a sports website. You can see there's NFL, MLB. However, for some reason, you'll notice they're talking about putting things in their butts and the Covington fiasco. Okay. Now, these stories on the front page are specifically in response to the management saying only sports from now on. This is the latest in the major controversy surrounding the new owners trying to say, you're a sports website, drop the politics, stick to sports. The staff said, no, politics makes more money. That's why Covington is on Deadspin. Deadspin also broke that story about all of these news anchors. It's not a sports website. Here's the latest. Geo Media tells Deadspin staff in leaked memo, stick to sports. Sports and sports alone must be the sole focus of the website, new management said Monday in a memo obtained by the Daily Beast. It's not so much that they're trying to purge the woke leftism from sports. Kind of. They're trying to just make a sports website. Now, here's the thing. In response to this, we saw, I believe it may be this story, the adults in the room, we had the staff of Deadspin basically say, we make more money this way, you should listen to us, we're editorially independent. And that can be struck down very, very simply. Listen, this is one website. The Gawker properties have many websites. If we want to talk about Vigo the Carpathian or Covington, we will put that on the other website. What Deadspin doesn't realize is that, let me give you an ice cream analogy, let me give you a food shop analogy. Chinese food sells really, really well. That's why there's so many of them. It's really good. In fact, I think I might get some later. So you can open a Chinese food restaurant, but then you realize pad thai sells a lot better. So for some reason, your Chinese restaurant starts buying ingredients for pad thai. You, the new owner, say, I really appreciate that, but can you guys please just make the orange chicken and not the Thai food? And they say Thai food sells better. I know that, but guess what? I have a Thai restaurant across the street. I don't need more customers. You're splitting up the base. If Deadspin stuck to sports and their other properties ran these articles, they would build more audience by bringing in people who like sports. Is that so hard to understand? I don't do a gaming channel. That's why I made a new channel called Timcast Gaming. And I ultimately decided not for me. Now it's Timcast IRL. You should subscribe if you haven't because we're preparing stuff. The point is, if I'm going to do content on different issues, I make a new channel for it. You may notice that my main channel, youtube.com/Timcast, is almost entirely about politics and what Trump, impeachment, Democrats. That's because this is the big story in the US, and there's a lot of complicated factors involved, but I do one video per day. You come to this channel, you get a bunch of random cultural stuff. You see how I separated them, even though I'm the same person? Let me talk to you about sheer entitlement. Geo Media says, Deadspin, you're our sports site. We have Jezebel for politics. We have Kotaku for games. We have Gizmodo for tech. Why is our sports site talking about Covington? Let me read this for you. And the big news is some dude announced he got fired for refusing to stick to sports. Well, lo and behold, when your boss says your job is to do sports, for the longest time you've gotten away with not doing that. If you don't want to work here, you can leave. Then you get fired. They say, Daily Beast, in a Monday memo to staff, Geo Media editorial director Paul Maidman told the employees of the site, which primarily covers sports, but also frequently writes about media, politics, and culture, why? To abstain from stories that do not have an explicit link to sports. To create as much great sports journalism as we can requires a 100% focus of our resources on sports, and it will be the sole focus, Maidman said. Deadspin will write only about sports and that which is relevant to sports in some way. And I'll tell you why. Conservatives buy shoes too. It's a famous quote from Michael Jordan. Why don't you get political, Michael Jordan? He said, Republicans buy shoes too. I'm paraphrasing. I may be getting the story wrong. It may be apocryphal, but the point is, if you do a sports website where you just say, that dude just scored a touchdown, it was incredible, guess what? Tons of people can read that. But if you do a video, if you make an article where you're like, this dude scored a touchdown, here's why Trump is bad. You're going to get a bunch of people like, I don't want to read that, dude. I just want to know what happened at the game. I want to know who got drafted. Admittedly, I don't know a lot about sports. But I can understand why as a business you're saying, listen, If you're doing things that could potentially be offensive to a large portion of the country, we are actually segmenting and losing audience. What's hilarious is that the Deadspin writers are like, we're looking at the numbers and we can see politics gets more clicks. Yes. What you can't see, though, is how many people you lose by being divisive. All right? I talk about this all the time. Grifting. I hate it when people say, you're a grifter, right? They accuse me of being a grifter, Dave Rubin. I think I mentioned this in my main channel video. Let me tell you something. If I truly was in it for the money, I'd be playing Minecraft. It is for Fortnite, family-friendly gaming content. And I'd be telling silly jokes, you know, and playing a game where you're a goose. You see that goose game? It looks hilarious. I wouldn't be talking about controversial issues that get demonetized and deranked. Are you nuts? I'll tell you this, though. You want to talk about grifting? If you are a sports website that admits you produce political content because it makes money, you are grifting. Why is a sports website talking about Covington? Listen, man. I am a political commentator and journalist who has covered conflict and crisis and major political issues around the world. I talk about culture and politics. That's specifically what my channels are about. That's what they've always been about. The very first video, if you go to my main channel and look all the way back, it's me doing these really awful stand-ups trying to talk about news and culture and politics. I didn't change what I was doing. It's what I like doing. You, on the other hand, were told by your bosses, guys, it's a sports website. You gotta stop. And instead they said, no, harumph, I say. Vigo the Carpathian. This isn't The Onion, man. If you want to write for The Onion, go write for The Onion. It's right there. It's right up top. Clickhole as well. Congratulations. You want to write satire? Go do it. But if you're going to be employed by a sports website, guess what happens when you refuse to do your job? I mean no ill will towards Barry Pacheski. He says, hi, I've just been fired from Deadspin for not sticking to sports. I mean no disrespect and no ill will. But listen, if your job is to write for a sports website and your boss says just write sports and you don't do that, you'll get fired. Like, could you imagine if Burger King hired someone and said, your job is to grill burgers, and you were like, I'm going to make tacos instead? They'd be like, listen, we want everybody to make hamburgers. And then you go, okay, and then go behind his back and start making tacos. Get out. Dude, if you're not going to do your job, you're fired. So I feel bad the dude lost his job, but I got to say, man, listen. First of all, Deadspin was doing its thing with impunity for a long time. New owners came in. This happens. The company was struggling. Like, these companies are struggling. They claim they're like making money, but listen, man, the investors didn't want it. It wasn't something so they're gone. They sell it. The new owners came in. They made changes. This is life. This is why I hate having a boss, because you get someone who comes in and changes things. When I worked for Fusion, when I first started at Fusion, which now like used to own some of these properties, they said nonpartisan, and I said spot on, and that's one of the reasons I signed. And then 6 months later, in comes a new boss and he says, full far left, everything. And I was like, not for me, buddy. You can't make me do that. My contract doesn't state that. And it was just not pleasant. I tried quitting within the first year, saying, if this is what you're going to play, I'm not playing this game. I hate having the boss for this reason, but I get it. So my contract was up. They didn't want to release me. I said, fine, whatever. And then my contract ended and I said, sayonara, I'm going to go do my own thing. And that's it. No, it's not a grift. It's what I care about. But if a new boss comes into your company and says, listen, the focus is X and you don't want to do it, well, then don't work there anymore. For me, I actually tried leaving and they didn't want me to leave, probably because it would have looked bad. You know, they had a bunch of star hires and I was one of them. And then I ended up saying, I'm going to leave. I don't want to be here. And they were like, wait. It probably just would have been bad press across the board. They didn't want to look like they were losing talent. But if I got a job at a pizza place because I loved pizza, and then one day the guy comes in and says, all right, no more pizza, we're changing to pad thai, I'd be like, later, dude, that's not my game, okay? I'll find a new job. It happens. Now, I can see all these journalists saying, Holly Halvo, sorry, I'm pronouncing your name wrong, Barry in all caps, F them so much, insane, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, Barry, this sucks, sorry to hear it, what the F this, damn it, dude, so sorry. And it's everyone, all of these journalists, like, shocked. Here's the thing. Barry tweeted this. Management has unilaterally deleted these posts from every site in the network in a clear violation of our CBA. This is from their union that says, if you're as frustrated by our site's spammy new autoplay ads as we are, now's the chance to contact Geo's management and let them know. So I guess they had autoplay videos that were really loud. They then went and deleted all of these posts about the autoplay being noisy. I don't know what the posts were. But he tweets this: editorial independence. This is just yesterday. Decisions about editorial content, whether to post a story or the story's contents, headline, or placement, may only be made by editorial, including the executive editor. Once a story has been posted, it can only be removed by a majority vote of the executive editor, the CEO, and the general counsel unless required by law. Here's the big problem. First, he's specifically referring to deleting posts. So, okay, I can understand that. You have an agreement on editorial independence. But when it comes to sports or not, okay, you can write whatever story you want as long as it's sports, right? So Subverse is editorially independent from me. They produce what they think is relevant, and I often think they're producing stories that I think are irrelevant. But that's the point. My opinion doesn't matter so much as what the team ultimately decides to report on, where to go, and we end up covering stories that most people are ignoring. You'll also notice at Subverse, there's like nothing about the Orange Man. But we've gone down to some of the protests because it's important, but I don't decide that. I literally don't decide it. They're editorially independent. But I'll tell you this, if tomorrow they started making how-to videos like makeup tutorials, you better believe there's going to be a hard stop. You can't do this. Actually, I'll put it this way. If the Subverse crew interviewed a makeup tutorial person, I'd be like, that's a weird choice, but okay, I don't think we should do that. If they did it a second time and said, look, we're getting more views, I'd say that's great. Why don't we make a specific channel that's not Subverse for makeup tutorials? And then if they went behind my back and did more, I'd eventually say, full stop, we are not a makeup tutorial channel, stop doing this, cover something else. If you want to make a makeup channel, we'll put the makeup channel somewhere else. And then finally, if I issue a mandate, you can't make makeup content, do news, and they refuse, yeah, sorry, you're out. It's that simple. Like we produce at Subverse news. It varies. But if you want to make something off of our core subject, like that's not editorial independence. That's you just like running wild and making whatever you want. If it's a sports website, you're editorially independent insofar as you're writing about sports. You want to claim some dude's bad at sports? I can't tell you what to write. You want to claim that the Covington kids did something wrong? That's not sports. So anyway, I'll wrap it up. You get the point. I think what we're seeing here, these new investors came in and they've realized something very, very smart. If every website you have from Deadspin, Gizmodo, Jalopnik, Jezebel, etc., are all covering the same stories, you are shrinking your market. And if you want to maximize revenue and audience, you need Jezebel to be political. You need Kotaku to be about games. You need Jalopnik. I don't even know what Jalopnik is. Gizmodo should be about tech. The Root is politics as well. You have a space for those stories. But Deadspin should be about sports. I don't know what their deal is, but guess what? Dude got fired. Okay, well, congratulations. You're all lucky the company still exists in the first place. They're trying to offload this. But this is it. Politics has saturated, and these investors want nothing to do with it. We'll see how what ends up happening going forward. But hey, man, as long as these companies keep collapsing, you know, you're going to see these overreactions, this anger, this rage. Anyway, stick around. I got a couple more segments coming up for you in a few minutes, and I will see you all shortly.